welcome back to the channel and our 18 days across Newfoundland. So here we're going to have day 8 and day 9. Day 8 is we travel from Gambo to the Sabena Air crash site, and you see it's 127 kilometers. I don't get a whole lot of video of us just going down the trail. When you're going across these parts of Newfoundland in particular, it's just, you're on the old rail bed and there's just lots of alders. So while it's really fun to do in real life, for us to show you this, just going down those trails, it'd be much too boring. So I figure in my series, I just try to show some places that a lot of others who've done videos don't always show, or places that I found that I wanted more information on. So in this particular day here, I put number 1. I'll have a bit of video of us coming into Gander and a place you can stop for at lunch, and then I'll talk about Glenwood, where you have to turn left and head south. You'll want to get some gas there if you're going to the crash site and on towards Grand Falls. And then I'll have a bit of video when we turn left down there at number 2 and start heading into that trail. And then some more video of us. I want to do the crossing of that river that I've seen in Patrick's videos a lot, so I was showing that. So that's what I'm going to do today, and talk about a couple of things areas that I wouldn't have minded having more information on and wasn't quite sure when we got to it, so I'll show a few of those things today. As I mentioned in the last video, the night before, just after we set up camp, we had a torrential downpour, but luckily things dried out pretty good overnight, and we were able to pack up in the dry after having a little breakfast of some local Newfoundland squirrel. If like any other place, you don't realize the history in these areas until you come across a board like this that describes where you're staying and what it's all about. So it was kind of interesting. Denise took these shots as we were told there was a little area down at the river down behind the campground. So the owners of the campground have been putting together this sort of small interpretive center describing the Atlantic salmon spawning rivers and stuff. So they've got this boardwalk going down there, and you can cross the stream in that. So Denise took a little video here.
These are the falls at the campground where we stayed at David Smallwood Campground near Gambo. There's salmon fishing in here.
So here we are on the trailway, just coming up into Gander, close to the airport. It's another nice warm day. What a lot of people don't realize, there was also another crash that happened back in 1967, and there's a memorial plaque here in recognition of that. Trailway itself comes right past the Gander Airport and right to the approach end to runway 21. That's what you see right there. Plan was to get lunch in Gander, and we knew there was a restaurant called Rosie's right off the trail. We thought we'd miss the turn off to it, but lo and behold, there it was right on the trail. So you can't miss this place. Great place to stop for lunch, and they have a bakery as soon as you walk in with lots of stuff. So we grabbed a few things. Then after lunch, we went into town, got some groceries
we passed the turn off to Rosie's, and no, there it is.
Yeah, I guess the woman must have asked something. Anyways, we went and got gas and some groceries for dinner later in the day on the trail, and breakfast this next morning at the campsite.
I'll take this one. You go park somewhere else.
And yes, my busted up old body's allowed to park in these spots. After you leave Gander, the next town you come to is Glenwood, and this is where you head south going to the Sabine air crash site. If you are going that way and continuing on to Grand Falls, it's about 170 kilometers. So we wanted to top the tanks up, grab some beer, and Johnny's place that you see here is right on the trail. You can't miss it, so you'll want to gas up there. We didn't have any problems with fuel, but we were still carrying some regardless. So it's about 30 kilometers from the turnoff at Glenwood down to where you make the left turn to go into the trails to get to Sabena. And it's a wide open dirt road. You cover that really fast. And you can see in the on the left side the two white lines. So that's what this little next video is. So it's about 10 kilometers from that bridge you saw that we just crossed to the water crossing itself here. There's a few things I want to talk about here is you have a couple of options. So you can see we brought ourselves in on that yellow trail. And so between those two yellow lines is the next couple of bits of video that are coming up showing the water crossing. If you were to get to that water crossing and you found it just like, oh my God, the river's flowing pretty fast, it was a lot deeper, you can just go back and it's only about a kilometer back to where I'm showing that alternate route. And that will take you down to this wide open dirt road that we had taken out got left the next day on. And there's a bridge down there. So, and that whole section there is big enough you can drive your pickup truck on it, no problem at all. So, yeah, it's we didn't take that alternate trail. We didn't need to. We did the water crossing, and so it was no problem. It was a lot of fun. And the yellow circle part there, I'll explain that. So here we are coming down the trail. It definitely gets tighter after not long after the bridge that we had crossed back there. Fun trail. It was good, and it's like I say it's pretty good going. It didn't take too long. But we did come up to this Y in the road, but the trail showed that from the maps that I was following from Patrick's route that he gives you for crossing Newfoundland, it showed us going to the right here. So you can see on the map, you end up coming to this little bridge, and I didn't really stop to check it out, but there was a sign that says quads only. So like we're not a quad, we're a 2,000-pound side by side. But so once we did get to the bridge, it was kind of a little sketchy, but the trail on Patrick's map showed that they've all gone that way. So I said, okay, let's go for it. But as you can see in the map here, there is a little bypass that would take you down, but I don't know what that section's like going across the water there. So that's the way we went. The bridge held us, but if you're much wider than our 70-inch machine, I'm not really too sure about it. So there you go. place to camp on our way back after the visiting the crash site. We need a fairly good sized area, and it turned out to be a little harder proposition than we thought, but we eventually did find a spot. But here somebody says, hey, there's a cottage or something here, a little cabin, and oh, there's a nice little chunk of lawn, but with that string across it, we figured we better not. Anyway, so here we are at the river crossing. I'll show a couple of different views of that coming across. It was a lot of fun. One thing I will say is that when you do get to the other side and it's only a short trail, it doesn't take too long, but it was the tightest, most grown in trail, and the alders were getting pretty thick in there. thick down at window level, and we're getting beat up pretty good. Mark, being from Arizona, is just not used to this closed-in stuff. He's in wide open desert spaces, so his machine's brand new, and we thought, oh boy, he's just going to be cursing us, bringing him through here. But so we decided to catch a little bit of the video of him coming out, thinking we'd get some
Very,
blue.
very
Well,
tight trail, and
yeah.
likely a very, very pissed off Mark when he gets up here.
And as it turns out, we thought we'd hear a
He's
whole
got
bunch
his
of blue
baby
language,
scratched.
but no, not so much at all.
Bugs are crazy.
Yeah, mosquitoes are just waiting for us.
So once you cross the river and get back out onto the trail, it's about 10 kilometers to the trail that you hike into the Sabena crash site. And about halfway, we finally found a spot to camp, and turned out to be a great little spot right on the trail. But it was about 10 o'clock by that evening by the time we got back and ended up setting up in the dark. Anyways, so I didn't get any video of this part, but the after you get past our campsite there, it gets pretty tight and grown in, but for the most part, it was pretty good. Now, I know if you watch other videos, it shows or people have mentioned, they take their machine up the trail to the crash site, but man, that's not something I'd do. Maybe if you have a small ATV with good ground clearance, it's one thing, but to risk breaking an axle or something in your bigger machine, it's a pretty steep, pretty technical trail, and yeah, it's just not worth the risk of breaking your machine way out there because you really are in the middle of nowhere, and to try and come and recover or fix your machine back there would just wouldn't be much fun at all. This is the actual entrance to the trail, and this is way steeper than it looks in the picture. And the entrance is only marked by a small little white arrow with black letters saying Sabina on it, and that's it. But it's easy to see. And yeah, this is like I said, it's really steeper. And with me being on my forearm crutches, this was tough. It was probably one of the toughest things I've ever had to do, being in the condition I'm in. And it was like about 1.6 kilometer hike in. And man, it was like I almost gave up at one point, but I figured if well all those people could survive that crash, then I could tough it out and get to the top. But yeah, it's a good hike regardless. And then finally the plane comes into sight, and oh man, it was made it all worth it. It was something else to finally see that. I mean, this is not just something you see every
Sabine
day. And
aircraft.
being in the aviation business, it's and my love of airplanes, and I fly. It was just yeah, unbelievable to see all this and spend some time walking around the site. It really was something else, worth it. There's the memorial, like you see here, and explains everything that happened. We just walked around. We didn't touch or do anything. Looks people have taken mementos, but to me, it's like you shouldn't disturb something like this. Just have some respect for the deceased. They had the graveyard there, and it was all pretty sombering being there, but at the same time
Somber.
very cool.
Come and take a close up of this valve.
The next day, we traveled from our campsite to Riverfront chalets just west of Grand Falls. It was only 110 kilometers, and as soon as you get back out onto the main dirt road, it's pretty fast going, and then you take this hydro road pretty much all the way up to Grand Falls, so it doesn't take long at all to get up there. We were at the chalets by mid-afternoon, no problem at all. As we were hiking out from the Sabina Crash Site trail, it was already starting to get pretty dark in the woods, and by the time we traveled the 5 kilometers back to the campsite we'd found, we were setting up under the lights of the machines, but we had, I think it was like 11 o'clock, we were eating our subs from earlier in the day, but that's all fun, and so there we are, all cleaned up, no sight of anything left behind, and just grabbing a few wild blueberries to have a little snack after breakfast. All's good, and off we went again. So again, you can see here that we took the bridge on the way back and going up that main dirt road. You can see I've marked the way we came in before, but yeah, it was fast, super easy. And once we got going, so here's that hydro road that just goes forever all the way up to Grand Falls fast. Some cool scenery. It was a lot of fun, just different type of riding for the day. So yeah, it's you can make tons of time up on this. You can go as fast as you want. It is pretty wide open, and again, the weather was nice and warm, just a little bit overcast. But yeah, this is a blast. I had a lot of fun on this section, and it's a good way to go. After stopping in Grand Falls for some gas and groceries, it was just a short drive down the trail to the Riverfront chalets. The owner was nice enough to rent us the vacation home for just the night as it was free, and it's usually like I think a 3 night minimum stay. But yeah, it was a nice relaxing rest of the afternoon, and we just cooked up a good dinner, lobster, and yeah, just hung out, enjoyed our time there. It was a nice little spot, and there's the river you can go down to, and there's rafting tours up just from there. So, anyways, that's it for day 8 and 9. Just join us next time for day 10, and we'll be heading from here at the Riverfront Chalet through Gaff Topsail and over to Deer Lake. So thanks again for watching. Hope you liked this and it was informative. And until the next one, take care. Thanks again for watching.